Imagine you're standing in a room full of people. Some are your friends, some are your rivals, and most are just in the way. Now imagine there's a secret language being spoken in that room, a language of subtle moves, hidden traps, and calculated silence. If you don't speak it, you're not a player, you're just a pawn. For 500 years, the world's most ambitious people have been obsessed with a single burning question. How do you get to the top and stay there? Not by luck, not by being nice, but by design. Today, we're looking at the two ultimate manuals for winning that game. We're pitting the OG of political ruthlessness, Niccolò Machiavelli, against the modern-day master of manipulation, Robert Greene. It's a battle between a 16th century Italian diplomat and a 21st century strategist. It's the prince versus the 48 laws of power. Now, let's get one thing straight. These books aren't about being good. They aren't about being the person everyone likes at the office holiday party. They are about reality. They're about the cold, hard fact that if you aren't thinking 3 steps ahead, someone else is already thinking 5 steps ahead of you. Let's start with the man who started it all, Niccolò Machiavelli. To understand his mind, you have to picture Italy in 1513. It was a beautiful disaster. It was a collection of city-states constantly stabbing each other in the back, literally and figuratively. Machiavelli wasn't some evil genius sitting in a dark cave plotting to ruin the world. He was a civil servant who got fired, tortured, and exiled when the wrong family came into power. He wrote The Prince as a desperate job application, basically saying, "I've seen how the world actually works behind closed doors, and it's not pretty. Here is the blueprint for how to survive it." His most famous advice is a total gut punch to our modern sensibilities. Is it better to be loved or feared? Most people, wanting to feel like good people, say loved. It feels better, doesn't it? But Machiavelli looks you dead in the eye and tells you that's a trap. Love is a bond of obligation that people break the second it serves them. People love you when things are going well, but the second trouble starts, they'll dump you to save themselves. Fear, on the other hand, is something you control. If people are afraid of the consequences of crossing you, they stay loyal out of self-preservation. It's not about being a monster. It's about being effective in a world where loyalty is a rare commodity. Fast forward nearly half a millennium to the late 1990s. Robert Greene enters the scene. Greene didn't invent new tricks. He spent years as a Hollywood researcher and writer, noticing that the same things that happened in the courts of the French kings were happening in modern movie studios. He realized that power hasn't changed its nature. It just moved from the battlefield to the boardroom and the water cooler. So he wrote The 48 Laws of Power, where Machiavelli is like a grizzled war general giving you a few blunt, heavy rules for survival. Greene is like a grandmaster chess player. He gives you 48 specific surgical tools. He tells you things like, never outshine the master, law number 1. If you make your boss look incompetent or less talented than you, you're gone. He doesn't care if you're actually better. He cares about the ego of the person above you. He tells you, conceal your intentions. If nobody knows what you're doing, they can't build a defense against you. It's a much more psychological, almost hypnotic approach to human interaction. So, how do they really compare when you lay them side by side? Both men agree on the biggest rule of all. Appearances are everything. Machiavelli tells the prince that he doesn't actually have to be a virtuous, religious, or kind person. In fact, being too kind might get him killed. But he must appear to be all those things. Why? Because the masses are easily fooled by a shiny exterior and a strong reputation. Greene takes this even further. He has entire laws dedicated to your reputation, your clothes, and even the way you speak. Law 5 is literally, so much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. They both realize that in the game of power, the truth is a luxury for the weak, but the image is a necessity for the strong. But here is where they start to drift apart. Machiavelli's world was a world of us versus them. It was about the state, the army, the territory, and the crown. It was big, heavy, and dangerous. His advice is for the person at the very top who has everything to lose and a whole country to protect. It's high stakes and high drama. Greene's world is much more everyone versus everyone. His laws are for the person who is still climbing, the underdog, the person in the middle of the pack. He's teaching you how to be a social chameleon. While Machiavelli tells you how to hold a stone fortress, Greene tells you how to blend into the crowd until it's time to strike. Machiavelli is about the lion, strength and authority. Greene is often more about the fox, cunning and adaptability. There's also a huge difference in why they wrote these books. For Machiavelli, power had an ultimate purpose. He wanted a strong leader so Italy could finally stop being invaded and have some peace and order. There was a bit of a for the greater good vibe under all that ruthlessness. He believed the ends justified the means if the end was a stable society. Greene, however, is a bit more detached. His book is largely amoral. He doesn't tell you why you should want power, and he doesn't care what you do with it once you get it. He just gives you the laws of the game. It's like a set of professional-grade kitchen knives. You can use them to cook a beautiful meal for your family, or you can use them for something much darker. The tool doesn't care about your heart. That's what makes Greene's book so eerie to some people. It's power for the sake of power, treated as a pure science. Now, let's talk about the controversy. Both of these books are constantly called evil. People say they encourage lying, betrayal, and sociopathy. And honestly, if you follow every single law to the letter with no soul, you're going to end up very powerful and very lonely. But both authors would argue that they aren't creating these dark tactics. They're just describing the world as it already exists. Think of it like this. If you're playing a game of poker, and you're the only person at the table who refuses to bluff because you think bluffing is dishonest, you're going to lose all your money in 10 minutes. Machiavelli and Greene are just showing you how the other players are bluffing. Even if you choose to be the most honest, kindest person in the world, you still need to read these books. Why? So you don't get eaten alive by the people who aren't as nice as you. It's defensive driving for the soul. One of the most fascinating things about comparing these two is seeing how history repeats itself. Machiavelli talks about a prince needing to be careful about the people he surrounds himself with. Greene translates that into never put too much trust in friends, learn how to use enemies. Different centuries, different language, but the exact same human insecurity. We are still the same status-seeking, territory-protecting primates we were in the Renaissance. We've just traded swords for spreadsheets and poisoned wine for passive-aggressive emails. So, which one is actually better? If you want to understand the soul of power, the heavy life-and-death decisions of true leadership, and the philosophy of the ends justify the means, read Machiavelli. It's short, it's punchy, and it's a classic for a reason. It's about the burden of command and the sacrifice of personal morality for the sake of a larger goal. But if you want to understand the mechanics of power, how to handle a toxic coworker, how to build an aura of mystery around yourself, or how to win an argument without saying a single word, then Greene is your guy. He's the technician. He breaks down the psychology of influence in a way that feels like he's handing you a secret remote control for the people around you. At the end of the day, the 500-year gap between these two books actually disappears when you realize they are both talking about the same thing. The human ego. We all want to be respected, we all want to be safe, and we all want a bit of control over our lives. Whether you're a prince in 16th century Florence or a freelancer in a 21st century coffee shop, you are dealing with people. And people are complicated, jealous, and ambitious. Machiavelli and Greene are just the two best tour guides we have for that dark side of the human map. They don't tell you how the world should be, they tell you how it is. So, next time you feel like you're being pushed around or you feel like the world isn't being fair, remember these two. They remind us that while we might want the world to be a playground, it's often a battlefield. And on a battlefield, the person with the best map wins. Once you see the game for what it is, you can finally start playing it. And in a world defined by 500 years of power, playing the game is the only way to make sure you don't end up as someone else's move. Keep your eyes open, your reputation guarded, and your intentions hidden. I'll see you in the next one.